Hello everyone, welcome to Smart Investing with Philippe. And today we're going to comment on the earnings of AMD that happened actually yesterday. Basically, AMD beats on revenue estimates. They are in line with earning per share estimates. They beat on guidance, and still the stock go down by close to 10% today. Now it's around minus 5%. So why the stock is going down by 10% or now 5% when everything seems to be beating estimates? So stay tuned until the end of the video. We're going to go through two videos with the CEO of AMD. It's better to hear from the CEO itself why you shouldn't sell the stock AMD, and you're just starting to see what will happen with AMD growth going forward. You're going to understand why all the potential of AMD has not been translated into this quarter and why it will be in the next coming quarters. And it's better than watching all the YouTubers speculating about AMD futures and AMD this, AMD that. Just talk to the CEO and listen to what the CEO says, and we're going to comment along the way. So stay tuned. Let's watch what Lisa Su has to say about the future of AMD following the earnings of AMD of yesterday, and also what she has to say about the challenges that the street is mentioning about AMD earnings of yesterday. So let's go.
A huge run is falling today. Chipmaker beat revenue estimates, but data center revenue may be considered disappointing by the street. I'm not going to call it is. Joining us first on CNBC to talk more about the latest results is AMD's Lisa Su. Lisa, it's always great to have you on the show.
Good morning, Jim. Great to see you.
Yeah. Okay. So Lisa, we're going to cut right to it. These analysts have spent a lot of time talking about something that you can't game, which is whether you're going to be able to sell your chips in China, and not spending any of the time talking about the tens of billions of dollars you're going to make in with the MI400 and your next chip. So let's just deal first with China. What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, so first of all, Jim, it's great to be here with you. I think we are coming off a very strong first half of the year, very strong second quarter, 32% year-over-year growth, and we're guiding for a very strong second half of the year. So I think the business is really firing on all cylinders. This question about China, first of all, I have to say, the Trump administration has been working closely with us to really think about how we get our AI chips proliferated across the world, and we appreciate that. I think progress has been made. I think there was some speculation about licenses being granted, and the licenses are in process and under review, and we're working closely with the administration, but they're not yet granted, and so we did the prudent thing and did not forecast China revenue in the third quarter. But that being the case, we're talking about 28% year-on-year growth for the coming quarter, 13% sequentially. So we're excited about the second half of the year, frankly. There's a lot of positives in the business overall.
I don't blame you at all for being excited. I was going back and forth with Ben Regis from Elias, obviously a big supporter of yours. We were talking about how you did say, and this is in the call from that we just got, that you're using, and you've used this number before. Looking ahead, we see a clear path to scaling your AI business to tens of billions of dollars in annual revenue. I care a little bit more about that than I care about China. What could that mean for earnings per share? Do you think $9, $10?
Well, Jim, I think what we've said before, and look, we are at the very beginnings of just a tremendous AI opportunity here. AI is the most important technology over the last 30, 40, 50 years. And when you think about what it's doing for all businesses, all of our lives, how we do research, how we really live, I think it's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity. From our standpoint, we think we have an extremely strong portfolio, and yes, absolutely, we think tens of billions of dollars is the opportunity in a market that's going to be let's call it 500 billion plus over the next few years. So I agree with you. I think the opportunity is right now.
So did you hear that? Tens of billions of dollars going forward in a market that will be a $500 billion into the next few years. Tens of billions of dollars opportunity for AMD. Not 1 billion, 2 billion. Tens of billions of dollars of opportunity in the mouth of Lisa Su, a very low-profile CEO. She's never pumping the stock, never aggressive in her estimate or forecast. And from the mouth of the CEO herself, you understand the tremendous growth opportunity that AMD is seeing. And if you add on top that they get a license to export the chips to China, which I think she's hopeful to get, and all the estimates and all the forecast and guidance does not include at all the potential sales in China. Can you believe that if they get the license to go to China, what type of jump in the stock price there will be? And they beat the revenue, and they are in line with the EPS despite the one-off $800 million write-off that they have to do for the ban for exporting to China on the chip that they have already produced. And also, despite that the Chinese market not open for them, they still beat on revenue. I mean, just listen again. Listen, you know, we talk about tens of billions of dollars of opportunity. What do you want more, you know?
Talking about 2028. I mean, we're talking, therefore, like maybe that NVIDIA has $500 billion in revenues.
Well, I think I should stick to our revenue. I think our revenue opportunity is certainly, you know, tens of billions of dollars over the next couple of years. And what we see right now is people are very excited about our new portfolio. We just launched our MI350 series, you know, which is, you know, very, very competitive versus Blackwell. And then we're on our way to, in 2026, a very competitive, you know, MI400 series. So, you know, we're on this annual cadence of new products because AI is moving so quickly. I think we see customers, you saw a number of new models come out that show us all of the capabilities of putting AI everywhere in cloud, in edge, and client devices as well.
Also, what is very important, what she said, is MI350 has not been yet launched. It's just starting to launch. So basically, all the growth opportunity that you will see the next quarters this year will include the sales for the new MI350 chip. And what you've seen so far does not include this new line of product, the MI350, and next year the MI400, which they say will compete head-to-head with the NVIDIA chips. Do you know? So it's just started with AMD. I know there are a lot of people are being skeptical, try to poke the bears and all this. But listen to the CEO. I've never seen that CEO be so optimistic about the prospect of a company. And this tells a lot about what will happen with AMD. She's a very low-profile CEO, you know. It's not the type of Alex Karp who just show off, bump the chest, say we are the best, we're going to do this. She's the total opposite. She's underwhelmed, you know. She undershot, you know. And still, she's very, very, very bullish on the prospect of the company. Both with the overall prospect for AI business or the AI's opportunity. Second of all, with potential to go in China. And third of all, because of the new lineup of products that they will compete head-to-head with NVIDIA or very close to NVIDIA and probably much cheaper than that. And the market want a second players. They don't want NVIDIA to be the monopoly forever, you know. They want a challenger to become as good as NVIDIA for cheaper. So, again, listen to what she says.
Lisa, it's David. For those amongst your investor base that are focused more on the short term, they expressed to me perhaps some concern about the quarter or the guidance in terms of what we're talking about when it comes to data center. The $400 million beat, gaming, they say, and in fact, they wonder whether you came in a bit light on data center, and therefore, when they look at a $15 billion revenue number for data center in 26, they wonder whether, in fact, you can meet that. Can you address any of that?
Yeah, absolutely. Good to see you, David. I would say that our data center business is doing extremely well. You know, you guys heard all of the latest, you know, CapEx forecasts from some of our largest customers. What we're seeing is there's a need for compute, and we are the high-performance computing company. We've seen a very strong data center CPU results. We're seeing good forward-looking forecasts from our customers. We're very pleased with our new MI350 series adoption. So we see actually an inflection point in that revenue as we go into the third quarter. So I think the data center business is actually the main driver of our growth, and we look at that as, you know, sort of the opportunity in front of us is to really be that computing foundation for the largest hyperscalers going forward, as well as a number of the AI companies right now who are investing significantly to make sure that they have enough compute to lead in the market.
Yeah, the numbers are staggering, but when you talk about an inflection point, can you explain what you mean?
Yeah, so we talked about when we look at our sequential growth, double-digit sequential growth, we're going to see double-digit growth in our data center business. That's actually a significant driver of our MI355 going into production in June. That ramps into the second half of the year. So I think all of those are very positive signals.
Your business is crushing it, but unless they've got the right help desk software.
Oh man, the tickets just won't stop.
So basically, you hear that, right? There is an inflection point into the growth of sales with the company. She said it, and the journalist asked again, what is the inflection point? She said you will see strong double-digit growth in the next quarters of this year. And next year is going to accelerate. And she's very exciting. With the new product line, the production has just started, so we're going to see these numbers in the next quarters. It's not this quarter that is supposed to be exciting. It's not this quarter that is supposed to be a bombshell, beat everything up in the dust, you know? This is the next quarters. So if you sell right now, you miss the whole opportunity in the next quarters. And you miss the whole point of why you should buy AMD. And that's it. Because if you bought AMD just for the technical run-up that it has to this point today, then well done, sell. If you're a long-term investor and you are investing for 2 times, 3 times, or 5 times your investment, and you want to ride the growth of both AMD and the AI trend, then this is the place to be, This is the place to be. So let's watch another video about Lisa Su, and it's another interview, and we're going to comment also on it. Stay tuned.
Lisa Su, strong in PC, strong in server.
Imagine bringing your side project to life just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
It was such an interesting quarter to look back at data center in particular. CPU strength, not just accelerators, strong AI outlook on accelerators, gaming, PC, and then some concern about the future of the China business. But Caroline and I, Lisa, have talked for quite a while now about AMD as the best performing chip stock so far this year. I wondered if we start by just asking what in the quarter changed for AMD, what the kind of biggest move forward was, do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, Ed and Caroline, great to be here with you. We always look at these things and say, when we have a business where all of our businesses are actually performing extremely well, it's a good place to be. So we had a very strong first half of the year. Second quarter up 32% year over year. We're guiding to a third quarter, up 28%. And underneath that, what you see is, first of all, data center business is doing extremely well. Our server CPUs are continuing to gain share in cloud and in enterprise. One of the things that we're seeing with AI is the AI investments from the largest hyperscalers are actually pulling, both GPU and CPU revenue, which is good for us overall. Agentic AI actually requires lots and lots of compute going forward. We're also seeing strength in PCs as well as gaming. Our products are extremely well positioned, whether you're talking about consumer or commercial. And then we're also seeing some improvement in the embedded side of our business, as that is also going to I would say return to growth in the second half of the year. So we've seen a lot of positive signals over the last 90 days in terms of what the market needs from computing and sort of the investment things. There are some questions about China, of course, which we can certainly talk about.
Well, let's talk first about the AI accelerator outlook, because actually from analysts to investors to the developer community, when we say that you're coming on the show, we get questions from all quarters. You had said that the AI accelerator business will grow to the tens of billions. And what I'm kind of seeing is people just want granularity from you, Lisa, a little bit. Like, when does that happen and where does it happen? And you talked about the hyperscalers, but what's the growth pathway to tens of billions in accelerator revenue?
Yeah, absolutely, Ed. So let me give you a few important markers. So what we said is the second half of the year, our growth would be primarily driven in the data center by accelerators. We launched a new product just in June, MI355 product. It's extremely competitive. We really like how we stack up in terms of total cost of ownership for inferencing and training workloads. Customers really like that product. That's driving some of our second half growth. And certainly when we talk about our sequential growth into Q3, that's being primarily driven by that accelerator capability. And now when you extend forward, I've said that the AI TAM for accelerators in data center will be over 500 billion over the next couple of years. We expect to get a large portion of that new accelerator TAM, and that's how we get to tens of billions of dollars. Very key is also, we've accelerated our roadmap, and so we are on an annual cadence. And next year we'll have yet a new capability with our MI 400 series, which will bring full rack level solutions, which will be another giant step forward in terms of capability for AI solutions. So I think that's the roadmap and path for the next couple of years. We're really excited about the traction. We're getting lots of customer validation saying, hey, you're on absolutely the right path. And we're making strong progress towards those goals.
Lisa, the granularity that was demanded time and time again on that earnings call with analysts was around China, though. And I know it's so hard to give because in many ways, this MI 308 is dependent on the licenses from the US government. How are those discussions going with the US government? How quickly do you think they can get through the backlog?
Yeah, Caroline, definitely. Look, I know people.
So just a quick note for those who don't know what is the MI308. That's the chip that is specifically designed for the restricted market of China. So this is a chip that actually doesn't include a lot of features that the US government agreed that this chip maker could export to China. So just to give you the background of what is the MI308. And that's actually that chip that was not allowed to be exported finally to China. And they had to take a huge write-off of about 800 million this quarter to actually take the hit on the inventory that they have built on this chip, But hopefully they could maybe unwind that windfall of 800 million. We're going to see exactly, we're going to hear what she has to say about this 800 million. So stay tuned.
precision, and what I will give you is exactly how things are playing out from our standpoint. I think we've seen an improvement over the last 90 days. 90 days ago, we did not expect to be able to ship to China because of some of the regulations. I think this administration, the Department of Commerce, the government has actually been very open to trying to find the right balance between national security and ensuring that we have U.S. AI technologies proliferated across the world. So we think that's a great balance. We now know that we have a number of licenses that are under review. We've been given good indications that those are moving through the review process, and we will certainly inform everyone when the licenses are granted. But given that it's hard to predict exact timing, just given all of the things that are in front of the government at the moment, we thought the right thing to do right now is just say, hey, let's not include that in the third quarter revenue. But even with that, we're growing 28% year over year, which is, fantastic growth rate. And if you asked me, what we've learned in the last 90 days, we've learned that the demand is even stronger in the second half of the year than we necessarily, thought maybe just a few months ago.
And analysts really.
So you've heard that yourself. What do you want more, Even a guidance, a very strong beat guidance is without any sales at all from China or to China. Can you just believe that? They've been so conservative on the number, but they still managed to beat all estimates from analysts. And she's very enthusiastic and she's very bullish on the second half of the year growth potential of the company. And also in 2026. So what more do you want, This is perfect, Why you want to go through the balance sheet? You have plenty of YouTubers who will show you the numbers. I can also show you the numbers on the balance sheet. But what is more important is why you should keep buying and you should keep your shares even if it goes through short-term volatility. Because the game has just started for AMD. It's just started. And the long-term game for AMD is within the next 3 to 5 years. You're going to do 3 times, 5 times your investment. I guarantee you. Of course, there is no guarantee. But the way the overall AI trend and the overall trend of the company is doing, for sure, AMD is going to be a $1 trillion company within the next 5 years. There is no doubt in my mind. So let's go through it.
Corroborated and thought it was right that we should see such caution perhaps and not show up in the numbers. But Lisa, I'm interested in the inventory that you had been very clear about, the $800 million knock on the fact that you couldn't access China for a while. I know that most of those manufacturing hadn't been complete, but do you think you can unwind that 800 million? How much do you think can you bring that back to bear?
We certainly expect that once licenses are approved, that we will, restart our supply chain and, get those in place. We do have, a bit of time that it takes to complete those, but we would expect to be able, to ship some of those products as licenses are approved. And, again, the exact timing will depend on when licenses are approved. But I, again, would hope that we don't get caught up in, something that I would say is moving actually in the right direction and really see like the overall business is doing extremely well, right? When I look at data center growth, when I look at client and gaming growth, and really the return to growth in the embedded. Those are the key aspects to really, understand about where the business is today.
Lisa, the question that we have on China, if I may, is something that we've all
I think we are for the rest of the world is I think it's just getting strapped through with the administration. But as I said, we've had very close conversations and we're making good progress there. So from that standpoint, I think the overall competitiveness of our AI roadmap has never been stronger. And we're excited about what we can deliver across AI GPUs as well as our CPU franchise and all of the rest of our portfolio.
This is Bloomberg Tech, live on Bloomberg Television and Bloomberg Radio, and we're speaking with AMD CEO Lisa Su. Strong in PC, strong in server, particularly CPU. Is that an AMD capturing market share story, or is that just a rebound in demand generally story, Lisa?
Well, I think it's both, Ed. I think the demand is good. I think the demand patterns are better, but clearly we're very competitive with our products. I think we have leadership CPUs in both server and client. We've shown significant traction in cloud as well as enterprise. And I think going forward, you're going to see enterprise customers want the best solution out there, and that is AMD for computing.
And gaming, Lisa, so strong. I'm interested into the nuance of pull forward, because you said on the call that you didn't see a whole lot of pull forward of people trying to get ahead of tariffs and price increases. But did you see any?
Very little, Caroline. I think what we look at mostly is not just what we're selling in to customers, but we actually look at what's being sold out at end customers. And what we're seeing being really transferred to end customers is good demand. I mean, people are refreshing their data centers, which is very positive, right? We're in a place where computing is important, and so we're seeing strong refresh cycles on the data center side. We're seeing strong pull through of our solutions in the enterprise in PC, and then from a gaming standpoint, again, we have a very strong product cycle. So it's always hard to tell exactly what the impact of the current tariffs are, but I would say that that's the smaller part of the impact on our business. The larger part is just strong products, very good traction from customers, and looking at a stronger second half of the year.
A stronger second half of the year where you take some market share from NVIDIA. Lisa, how are you seeing that grow out and the ability to compete with the next range of chips?
We are very bullish on our overall roadmap capability. I think the second half of the year has a number of customers really broadly adopting AMD.
Lisa, I have a question from our audience, if that's okay, a viewer of Bloomberg Tech. And as you know, like loads of AMD employees, your peers, technology industry people want to hear what you have to say. I'm just going to read it to you. Can Lisa please explain, AMD's winning in gaming and consoles, but AI is where the margins are now. What's the plan to make AMD indispensable to the next OpenAI and not just cost-effective alternative, I think, to NVIDIA is what they're saying?
Well, Ed, the best way to say that is for those of you who know us as a company, we execute extremely well. Our roadmaps are strong. We're very excited about all of the progress that we've made. MI300 was an excellent product. MI350 is a big increase above that, and then our next generation is also. And the key for us, if you look at our history is doing what we say we're going to do, delivering to customers, delivering total cost of ownership, and with that, being a great partner. And so from that standpoint, I think you can be very confident that we have a strong roadmap and we're going to execute on it well. And our largest customers want to have a dependable and good partner.
Well, that's it. You've seen 2 key interviews with Lisa Su, and she has covered everything you need to know about the prospect of AMD in the second half of the year and 2026 and going forward. So basically, she's executing a growth plan. She's forecasting tremendous growth and accelerating growth in the second half of this year. And even the forecasted numbers that she gave during the call, she can expect even more if China goes open again. She can actually write down, she can actually undo the part of the 100 million write-off that they've just did right now. So basically, they can sell a lot of this inventory that they wrote down during this quarter if China open again. And she's extremely confident about the new product lineup. She just started the production of MI350. You heard it, started in June. They're going to start to ship it to the customer going from now. So we're going to see in the next quarter, rather the real numbers of selling this 350 chip. And next year, you're going to get the new lineup of MI400, which, according to her, is competing head-to-head with the NVIDIA best chip, So basically, she does not only compete on cost, but she competes on the leadership and the quality of the chip that she's selling. And it's at par with NVIDIA capability. So in some instances, better than NVIDIA capability. So if you are not convinced to buy AMD after listening to these 2 videos and looking at the balance sheet that actually was released yesterday, then I don't know what to say. Just sell your stock. Sell it to me. I'm buying your stock. Okay? And I have to see you in 3 years and 5 years, or maybe see you by the end of the year when you're going to see the growth accelerating in the second half, and then the whole market is going to buy the stock at 200 instead of buying today at 160. The same thing that nobody was buying at $80 back in April, and I was buying at 80. Now it's 160. A lot of people were buying. Even at 178, a lot of people were buying before the pullback right now. So this pullback is just short-lived, It's nothing to do with the long-term prospect of the company. Now let's quickly look at the share price action and leave it to that. So AMD, you see, just retrace back from the all-time high. From all-time high this year, actually. Pullback 14%. Now it's a pullback of 10%. You see, already recovered a lot of the fall of yesterday. Now we are just minus 6.4%. I think it's a short-lived drop in the market. It's actually a buy opportunity. Everybody wanted to sell AMD. That way, short-term traders were actually riding all these uptrends. I mean, you did fantastically well. Good you sold because we want long-term investor now to stay in AMD. You see, it was fairly overbought on the RSI. Now it's gone back to the 50. So it's perfect, technically speaking, perfect, you know. So, again, excellent quarter for AMD. Leave me a comment, like, and subscribe. Tell me exactly what you think about AMD, whether you're buying, you're selling, or you're topping up your investment. And I tell you, see you next time. Bye.